The House of Musk has been rather pungent the past few months, with the former richest man on the planet having taken a proverbial wrecking ball to his acquisition that cost him $44 billion. Welcome to the Twitter Apocalypse Explained Part 7. Now, I know I've made a whole bunch of videos poo-pooing on how Elon has handled Twitter, but on this channel we give credit where credit is due. Back in October of 2022, he told Twitter employees that he was not planning on getting rid of 75% of them, and he's managed to keep that promise. Good news, guys. Musk has casually made mention of laying off staff when he takes over Twitter, a $44 billion deal that's expected to close on Friday. However, immediately losing 75% of Twitter's staff, or about 5,600 employees, would probably leave the social media company inoperable. That would indeed be reckless and hugely detrimental to the company. No, Elon has instead opted to go above and beyond all expectations, with Twitter now having lost about 80% of its staff compared to the pre-Elon era. Of the roughly 7,500 people working there before Musk's takeover, CNBC reports Friday that barely 1,300 in total and fewer than 550 full-time engineers are left at the husk of a company, either through said layoffs or voluntary resignations. I've said it before and I'll say it again. When you lay off this many people in such a short amount of time, it's not a strategic, well thought out process. A lot of the good people lose or leave their jobs, and it's almost certain that a lot of bottom feeders still remain in the organization at every level. When large companies like Google, Microsoft, and Amazon lay off 10,000 people, they're mostly trimming the fat. They have hundreds of thousands of employees, if not millions in the case of Amazon. On the other hand, with Twitter, there's no fat left and a few limbs are gone, and whoever's left at the company is trying to cling on to whatever they can. However, in the case of Twitter, the lungs are gone, there's a few limbs chopped off, and whatever's left of the company is trying to hold on to whatever they can while people continue to disperse. It's an open secret that many employees who remain at Musk's hardcore Twitter are actively looking for other jobs. Even the most publicly cheerful Twitter workers can't fully mask the despair. On December 29, one tweeted a selfie smiling in front of an empty office with the hashtags solo work, productivity, and finding perspective. It's also an open secret to anybody who's been in the workforce for a while that expressing your concerns about the leadership of your employer can kind of be like expressing criticism in a fascist state. Whether immediately or over a longer period of time, you probably have a target on your head now, whether it's in the minds of the people at the top or, HR. So I'm not surprised the tweet got deleted. Anyway, using some potato level math, we can assume that the extensive headcount reductions are saving Twitter roughly $1 billion a year. But beyond the first 1,000 or 2,000 employees, it's like removing the kidneys and liver under the premise that the lungs now have less of the body to provide oxygen for. But speaking of revenue, Twitter ads per Elon are out of control. Musk said that the social network would be taking steps to address what he acknowledged was too much frequency for ads displayed on Twitter, and also the ads themselves taking up too much space. Finally, Musk reiterated that there will also be a new higher priced subscription tier coming that will entirely remove ads. Yes, the man running the social network that had its advertising revenue decimated since he took over is complaining that there are too many ads now. His solution is to follow the model that streaming services have, like Hulu and Netflix, where they have different tiers with different levels of advertising. Musk previously tipped that there would be a fully ad-free higher tier subscription coming in 2023 in mid-December last year. At the time, Musk also said blue subscribers at the existing rate would see half the ads of free users. It's a real shame that we don't have up-to-date numbers of people who have already subscribed to Twitter Blue, but the numbers from November don't look too promising. A software developer found over 137,000 people paid for Twitter Blue, the New York Times reported. The typical Twitter Blue subscriber had 560 followers, and many were far-right accounts. Thousands of subscribers were linked to far-right accounts flagged for posting extremist content. This equates to roughly $13 million a year, with a good portion of it coming from the basket of deplorables that is the far right. So there's two parts to that sentence. The first part is that $13 million a year is nothing compared to how much Twitter is burning right now. And they would probably have to at least 100x the subscriber count to make a meaningful contribution to the company's survival. I somehow doubt they've done that. The second part is that having the far right be amplified on the platform is detrimental to keeping normal people on the platform. Sure, hate and controversy create a lot of engagement in the short term, but let's consider that people get tired of it in the long run as drama fatigue sets in. Now, I'm not claiming I know how to pull Twitter out of its financial hellhole, but something tells me this model isn't going to work. In a further degradation of Twitter, this time as a software platform, they have now cut off API access for third-party clients. The age of great third-party Twitter clients may be over. After Twitter cut off their API access and changed its rules to bar apps that compete with its own, the Icon Factory has announced that it's discontinuing Twitterrific. Phoenix has been pulled from app stores, and Tapbots has posted a memorial for Tweetbot. It's a loss for all the people who used the apps, and almost certainly a loss for Twitter itself. It wouldn't raise many eyebrows if other social networks did a move similar to this one. After all, when was the last time you scrolled through your Instagram feed using a third-party app? But Twitter is different. It has a long history of third-party apps helping make it what it is, or soon to be was. Third-party apps have had a massive impact on how we use smartphone apps in general, not just Twitter. A client called Tweety is widely credited for inventing the pull to refresh interaction that's become almost ubiquitous throughout iOS and Android for refreshing all sorts of feeds. Even if you haven't heard of Tweety before, you may have used it. In 2010, Twitter acquired it and made it the official iPhone client. In 2015, the company also hired a developer of a different third-party client to improve its Android app. In other words, Twitter has a notable community-driven component to its software development. That component just got shut down. Pair this with the fact that whatever engineers are left are barely enough to keep the lights on, let alone innovate. We can say that the evolution of Twitter has come to a screeching halt, or at least has another wrench thrown into it. Despite my best efforts, it's becoming increasingly difficult to hypothesize ways in which Twitter can survive in the long term, given all these events that keep happening. Even if they can overcome the technical challenges of running the social network on a skeleton crew that has a few pieces missing, even if the limp ad revenue and subscriber base manage to slow the bleeding a little bit, the reputational damage is already done. Elon has yet to step down despite promising to do so based on the results of the poll that he created. But that's not even the real problem. Even when he finds a replacement, the reality is that the replacement will be reporting to Elon Musk, as Elon Musk is still the owner of the company. Effectively, Elon cannot truly step down without selling Twitter. Thing is, so far nothing points to him considering doing so. His ego might not yet be at a breaking point. Prior to Twitter, his management style combined with him not being a complete idiot has yielded great success for him. Telling a lot of talented people to work hard and make the impossible possible can work under favorable circumstances, which he had with Tesla and SpaceX. But success without introspection can leave people blind to basic economics and common psychological traps. According to classical economics and standard microeconomic theory, only prospective costs are relevant to a rational decision. At any moment in time, the best thing to do depends only on current alternatives. Only things that matter are the future consequences. Past mistakes are irrelevant. Any costs incurred prior to making the decision have already been incurred no matter what decision is made. They may be described as water under the bridge, and making decisions on their basis may be described as crying over spilt milk. At this point, you're probably thinking, oh, he's probably going to talk about how Elon is falling for the sunken cost fallacy. And that would be correct if not for the overzealous overzealous cost cutting that Elon has been doing the past few months. He's definitely trying to sink less costs into fixing Twitter, albeit in all the wrong ways. However, given that Twitter will always have huge ongoing costs, and it being increasingly unlikely that Twitter will have positive cash flow anytime soon, the one thing that he should be doing that he hasn't yet is abandon the project. Yes, it would certainly hurt to sell Twitter for pennies on the dollar, especially after spending so much money on it, but it would ultimately save him billions of dollars in the long run and free up his schedule to concentrate on the businesses that are actually doing well, like Tesla and SpaceX. Well, Tesla not so much lately. It's going to let him focus on saving his actually successful businesses before he nukes his fortune on a social network that he's tearing apart. Given that he's now recognized by Guinness World Records for losing more money than anybody else in history, recouping some money may be advisable. Not financial advice. That's all for this video. Hit the like button if you had a good time, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't done so already. And until next time, thank you for watching.